The power circuit of Pukekohe Raceway was the scene for round 2 of the BNT V8. As always, close, exciting, side-by-side racing. But going into the Christmas break, it was the Australian teenager Jack Smith dominating Class 1, Justin Ashwell taking out Class 2. Happy New Year! Round 3 of the BNT V8s was set close to Queenstown. In fact, just a shot over away lies the fruit capital of the South Island, Cromwell, in central Otago. Also close to the Gibbston Valley, fantastic for wines, but also the home of the new mecca for motorsport in the South Island, Highlands Motorsport Park in Cromwell, central Otago. This purpose-built motorsport track, 4.1 kilometres in Highlands Motorsport Park, is just a dead-set fantastic combination of the Nürburgring, Watkins Glen, Phillip Island, you name it. It's a brilliant racetrack. In fact, Tony Quinn's multi-million-dollar playground is a real challenge for the drivers, like the Aussie star and series leader Jack Smith.
Yeah, coming into the weekend as a points leader is definitely a confidence booster. We've had a good couple of rounds to start with, and after practice, Highlands is, it's a really cool track. I'm really enjoying it. The bridge is unreal. It's quite different to Pukekohe. It's pretty high grip, so yeah, no, I love the place. Doing sort of a minute 40 lap time is a lot higher than any other track we go to around here. So there's more places to be fast, more places to be slow, I suppose. So yeah, coming into this weekend in the lead is something we'll use to our advantage. We just want to maximise our points and minimise our risk. So yeah, hopefully over the next few rounds we can do that.
And the big news over the break, the exciting new cars for next season in the BNT V8s.
Yeah, the Gen 2 cars are going to be an awesome package. Even the outside look of them is great. The cars are going to be very similar to what we run now, so pace is going to be really good, but the cars are just going to be awesome when they hit the circuit.
We're super excited about the prospect of introducing a new car to the range. It's important for the category to keep up with the times, basically, but it also, the general cars that we've currently got running now will still be fully eligible.
Yeah, we're trying to build a package that is very affordable to go racing. So boys are working hard behind the scenes to find the best bits and pieces, and we're also going to make it very compatible for enduro racing.
Yeah, well, the idea is actually go to the later model muscle cars. For instance, we're looking at doing a Camaro and Dodge, Mustang and Toyota Lexus.
Our running costs and car builds, etc. over here are really affordable and really do fit into a great category or area where people can get in amongst it without having to go and take another mortgage out.
So stay tuned for more exciting details about the release of the Gen 2 BNT V8. Another one of the Aussies to watch out for, 21-year-old Brenton Grove from Melbourne.
Everyone else in Australia is probably sitting on the couch and watching us over here, but for me, I can be over here and do really valuable miles before the start of the 2019 Super 2 Series. Testing's very restricted in Australia and also quite expensive, so to be able to come over here and drive competitively in a pretty similar car with the same tyre across a variety of different tracks, I mean, you can't beat it. It's competitive miles, it's new tyres, it's everything you do in Australia. You just effectively have a year-long season. They're different type of tracks to Australia, they're quite fast, so definitely puts you in good stead for tracks like Bathurst and Phillip Island. We've started to get on top of the car now, and the team's doing a great job to work through all the little problems. So hopefully we can have a clean run and really show our pace, because I've been leading races but never got to finish the race. So hopefully today or next round we can really go out and cement our position.
Okay, we're 2 rounds down into the season, and now we head to the Deep South for back-to-back rounds in the South Island. Our round 2 winners were Jack Smith and Justin Ashwell. Can they keep this form going as we head into Cromwell?
Hey guys, Lemington here. I'm current Class 2 champion of the NZ V8. I'm here with Oscar this weekend, and I think my ideal point of view for watching the racing here is the cars coming over the bridge with getting full airborne.
Yes, it certainly is a great place to watch the action at Highlands Motorsport Park as they bounce over the bridge and get some air. But getting seat time was absolutely crucial in the battle for qualifying. The likes of Jack Smith, Nick Ross, Lance Hughes, Chelsea Herbert, laying down the challenge for a lot of the drivers their first time at this track and getting the feel of what would be a fast lap at Highlands Motorsport Park. In the end, the drivers who gave it the Highland fling and took away the dash for cash in the battle for pole, Class 1 winner Jack Smith and Matt Pajewski in Class 2.
Hey guys, Brad Lathrop here. Welcome along to the latest edition of the Gulf Force 10 Tech Talk, and welcome to Highlands Motorsport Park down in Cromwell. Cracker of a day out there with some pretty high temperatures, which means the track temperature gets pretty high as well. So you've really got to make sure that you're on top of your tyre pressures before you go out for the race. Obviously, depending on the conditions of the day, whether it's a beautiful hot sunny day like it is down here today, or slightly cloudy and overcast, you've got to try and ensure that you get your starting tyre pressures just right so that they come up to the correct optimum operating pressure when you're out there racing. However, if you push too hard and overdrive the car when it's in the optimum window, you can overpressure or overinflate the tyre just from being out there with the heat dispersing through everything. That's when the car starts to fall off and becomes a handful, which is what you don't want. So one thing that we're really trying to get on top of this weekend for myself and our team is to ensure that we've got the right cold starting pressures in the tyres to ensure that within a lap or two when we're out there for racing, we come on form and we're good to pass some cars.
How did he get on the other side of the wall? That's Brad Lathrop, aka the Mad Mexican, with our very entertaining Gold Tech Tour. Right, let's take a look at the starting grid for race 1, and it's Smith, Ross, Hughes, the championship contenders, lining up at the front of the field, followed by Herbert, Grove, Wallace, Lathrop, Tubbs, Taylor and Pajewski, leading off that battle for Class 2, along with Ashwell and Braden Phillips coming out of the Mazdas over the weekend. So, rolling start, 4.1 kilometres will get it done as we get set to go racing in race 1 here at the BNT V8's from our BNT Sky Cam. As you can see, it's a fantastic track, Andrew. Down the front, straight into the bus stop for the first time.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty exciting, Clint. This is a high-speed approach into the bus stop. They've got a fan out into single file and now into one of the greatest parts of the circuit, into the southern loop through the forest. Here we are on board with Brendan Grove, tucked right under the boot wing there. Just hear that on and off gas as they're going around that corner that just never ends.
Yeah, it's that never-ending sweep, and then they come into the S's here, really tightens up right here before they've got to hook it right and then turn into the underpass where they go under the bridge. So a fantastic layout that Tony Quinn has actually developed here. This is what they term as the carousel. Shades of Manfield, a nice cambered corner. Then you go into the stink, which is off camber, before they charge with the big sort of loop around what they term as the alien bend and down towards the hairpin, back into the forest, which has that sort of shades of racing in Europe like the Nürburgring.
Yeah, it sure does. And here we go, Jack Smith out in front with Nick Ross, just starting to close back in on it. But yeah, this circuit's got everything you can think of, and the unique thing is the crossover, because these guys, you know, it's hard for our cameramen to keep up with the cars. They're just crisscrossing all over the circuit.
Now it's the fast entrance up and over the bridge with a bounce, gets some air, hard onto the brakes as you can see Chelsea Herbert just about locking up. Then it's around the lake, over Jed's Hump. They actually put that in when they built the track just to make it something different.
We see a dive here, Brendan Grove down the inside of Chelsea as they come through what they call the reverse Indy. So onto the front straight here, through the kink. Got to make sure you get this corner absolutely perfect because there's a wall there on the left-hand side that you do not want to come to grips with.
Yes, Highlands Motorsport Park, very similar to Hampton Downs, both circuits owned by Tony Quinn. They've got that main straight, which are a bit like a big kink as they sweep around in front of pit lane. Now back down towards the forest and the never-ending southern loop.
Yeah, just here Nick on and off the gas, just ever so patient. And Lance Hughes there tucked right in. Looks like he's got a bit of a run. Nick's just kicked up a bit of dust on the exit. Lance deep under brakes, making a bit of ground here.
Fantastic.
Oh, he's gone round. Gave them the mocker. There we go. Chelsea's having to step to the left. Brad round the outside.
Did he do that by himself? Or did he get a hand? I think he just lost control by himself going into the S's there.
It's a very hard braking opportunity. And here we go into the carousel. But back with Lance Hughes recovering.
Jack Smith. I tell you what, the rookie from last year, he's had a couple of wins under his belt. He's powered through Pukekohe and he's just taken to Highland Motorsport Park like he's a South Islander. Turn it up.
Yeah, look, it's the first time these guys have, and girls have all visited Highlands, so it's a bit of a level playing field for everybody because there's no previous data, but he's showing some pretty good skills there to be pulling away from our experienced campaigner, Nick Ross.
So for a lot of the drivers, it's not just a sort of a simple case of trying to get the right setup. It's actually getting used to the track and then get the right setup. So it's a real challenge, but straight away, the fast guy's doing a good job out in front. Smith, Ross, Grove, back in the groove.
The cream always rises to the top, as they say, and Jack Smith there now has a very commanding lead, I'd have to say. And unfortunately, the battle pack here has just been separated a little bit by that Lance Hughes spin.
On board with the Aussie out of Melbourne as they charge through the ripples through the bus stop. You can see how tight it is.
Yeah, and then you charge into this big southern loop. It's got to be a favourite of mine. I've done a lap around here and it's just a spectacular corner. Charge into the forest, brick wall on the outside. Here we go, back out now at a bit of daylight. But there's no daylight between him and Nick Ross. He's right back underneath the boot wing there of that Ultima. On and off the gas, he's just trying to get the drive to get a run down the inside here into the carousel. He's deep under brakes.
Good place to pass around the carousel.
Yeah, the benefit of the banking there. Nick's been able to hold on the outside. But now we go through the S's. Oh, it's still on, Grove. Oh, that's great action.
That's off camber. And now he sweeps down the alien bend into the hairpin. And look at all the space you've got to try and make a move around the hairpin.
Yeah, look, this isn't over yet now. Nick's trying to get the switchback on him. Trying to get the drive as they head off down this long back straight. Oh, Nick, don't want to be out there in the dust. Unfortunately, that's probably compromised his drive exit speed.
Fantastic as they ride the ripples up and over the bridge. A lot of the drivers can try and duck down the inside. Nick Ross had a look as they sweep around the lake.
Yeah, no, he did. Nick had a look, but once he was airborne there, he had to regroup and pull it back into line. So now through this final turn, this double Indy out onto the front straight.
Further back down the field, the Dale ITM Ford Falcon of Brad Lathrope and Chelsea Herbert, both a lot more consistent with their speed. A little bit of a twitch then. Yeah, brings it back under control. Oh, and he's lost it. He got caught up with Braden Phillips.
That's 1 for 1. You've mocked him and I mocked poor old Lance Hughes, but here we go on board.
So he was more worried
marker.
Yeah, he's more worried. He lost a bit of concentration there, coming out of Jed's Hump, and allowed Chelsea Herbert to duck down the inside.
Yeah, just off the racing line, a little bit too much braking pressure on the dirty side. But look, it's great to see Brad here moving up through the grid and being competitive.
Along with the MTF 62 Camry of Chelsea Herbert, she's had a lot more speed and just says she's just getting used to this track and making sure they get some speed out of this car after a few technical and mechanical problems. Just set up problems prior to Christmas. So she's showing some good speed and good skills here at Highlands Motorsport Park.
Oh, she certainly is. She's coming on strength, leaps and bounds, and it's only going to be a matter of time before she's challenging for podiums.
Rob Wallace out of Tauranga also pretty consistent in the 51 Commodore.
Yeah, it's great to have him as part of this series. He's got to be put down as one of the most consistent. He just keeps chalking up those points, and that's what you've got to do in any championship.
So it's the 20-year-old Chelsea Herbert. Right behind her is Brad Lathrope. He's sort of trying to make up for that little wee mistake, but he's just got to settle down and just keep circulating. Get into that rhythm. On board with Jack Smith. Man, has he found a rhythm or what? He's just cleared off.
Yeah, he's certainly monstered the curbs there through the bus stop into the southern loop. Look at him holding that steering wheel on and off the gas, just being patient. Now he's out, he can get on the gas and power away. But yeah, he's certainly coming to grips with his Highlands Motorsport Park complex.
So the class leaders at the stage, the two guys who started on pole, Jack Smith, Class 1, Matt Pajeski, the 18-year-old out of Inglewood and Taranaki in Class 2, 77. So I've got to say, this guy, he's got it, well, you could say it's got it on rails or hooked up or dialed up. He is just smothering the field at the moment.
Yeah, look, it's just daylight between him and the rest. So this is certainly a class act from Jack Smith out front. Yeah, the benefit of coming here last year, he knows a little bit about these cars. First visit to Cromwell, but he's showing true utter class there in this Holden Commodore, just gapping the field. We can't even see them in the shot behind him. He's that far out front.
So he really is enjoying his trip to Cromwell. Great car control here. It's a peach of a place, of course, with all the apricots and all the fruits, and this man is really, he's running ripe today, I tell you that.
Yeah, he's certainly not backing off there. You see the airtime that he got up over the bridge. Here we go through into this final couple of turns.
Talking to the drivers, Andrew, you know about it. It's a really busy track, but it's got a lovely flow about it.
It certainly has. It's a very good driver's circuit. It's got that European feel. And here we go, Jack Smith across the line.
Takes the checkered flag, gets the opening win of the weekend, followed by the other Aussie, Brenton Grove. He's back in the groove. Good to see him racing well. And Nick Ross and Matt Pajeski, well, he wasn't happy at the start of the race. He copped a fine, had his licence endorsed for a month and lost the result from race 3 at Pukekohe because of a technical infringement. But he's decided to put that behind him and just do his talking on the track, takes out the win for Class 2. So confirming those results, Smith, Grove and Ross, the top 3 in Class 1, followed by Herbert, Lathrope and Wallace, all showing improved form, and Pajeski and Ashwell continue their private little battle in Class 2. And Lance Hughes dropping back down the field after his moment going into the S's. But it's all about Jack Smith.
Yeah, it was a good first race. There's a long way to go in the weekend, but we've had pretty good pace over the rest of the field for the whole weekend. But I think Nick and Brenton were having a bit of a battle, which made it a bit easier for me. But yeah, we got the jump on Nick, which we don't often do, so that was pretty nice too.
Good start, and just led from there and consolidated the gap and then just slowly pulled away, and all the fitness we've done through the Elite Motorsport Academy has helped, and it's put me in tip-top shape to get around and go fast.
From Cambridge to Cromwell, from the North Island to South Island, and it's all over the Christmas New Year break while you're celebrating. These guys are getting set to go racing.
We have our Christmas holidays and then we're straight back into work and then straight back down the south racing again. So it just keeps moving and moving and moving. Like you say, it's pretty quick over sort of a 3 or 4 month period. But we've just got to plan ahead and make sure that what we do maintenance-wise fits in with where we are in the country at that time and which circuit we go into next. Being the South Island, we're back-to-back meetings. We make sure all our major maintenance is done before we leave in January, which I do a lot of that over the Christmas holidays. And then when we get back from there, again, we do another maintenance to get us through to the rest of the season. To have Maria and the girls come along is fantastic, as well as Mum and Dad are still involved in the racing very much. And hey, the whole team brings their family as well. Mike, my Sparky, brings his kids down. It's just one big happy family. Not always happy, but generally we get on pretty well, and we do the job we need to do. We're basically amateurs, trying to do a professional sport, and like I say, we do it because we love it.
Isn't that the classic Kiwi way? And here's the grid for start 2. Remember, they had to do the qualifying sessions, and they took the 2 fastest laps to set the starting grid for race 1 and also the starting grid for race 2. So a lot of those top drivers, Smith, Grove, Ross, Herbert, Lathrope and Wallace, leading the challenge for their second dash around this picturesque motorsport facility. It really is a brilliant track, but conditions today, a real challenge because there's wet stuff on the way. And you never know what's going to happen when the BNT V8's hit the track at the South Island. Race 2 underway. Grove off to a good start.
Yeah, it's great to see Grove there get the jump, and these conditions are certainly treacherous. We heard about Brad Lathrope talking about starting pressures and tyres, so that's going to be the key thing for this race. Who's got the ideal starting pressures?
And will the showers come? Will the rain come?
Yeah, they're threatening. They're in the hills in the background, so will we get this race in?
Brenton Grove has got his engineer out from Australia, Peter Osborne, to help with the setup. Oh, bit of a touch there, Nick Ross.
Oh, he's got in a bit hot and he's looped it. He's now beached in the kitty litter.
He says he's been struggling for grip all weekend. He's got the wets on, so he's waiting for the rain, but still can't get that grip.
Yeah, here we go on board. We can see a little bit of understeer there, and he's just unfortunately rolled into the back of Jack Smith, pinched the brake, and around it's gone.
So it was Lance Hughes who lost it in the S's in the first race, and now it's Nick Ross who's lost it in the same spot in the second race.
Yeah, and unfortunately he's not going anywhere out of there. He's going to have to get a line tow. So, yeah, that's interesting. Just wasn't able to get the tyre grip there on those wets on the opening couple of corners. And
safety car. Now the restart. So the safety car's been cleared off and we're back racing again. Still cool conditions, only about 16 degrees at the moment. Nick Ross down the rear of the fields. He's got a lot of time to make up.
Yeah, we see Brendan Grove there just from that concertina on the first couple of corners there. Has just dislodged the bumper. Let's hope the officials don't deem that too dangerous.
Herbert, Lathrope, Taylor, Hughes, Wallace, Projeski, Ashwell. Out of Rolliston down by Canterbury. That's the lineup as they swing through the S's and they'll hook left and come under the underpass and under the bridge.
Yeah, here we go, Jack Smith. You just got to think he's going to bide his time there, and these other competitors are on wet tyres. That track is definitely starting to dry out. There's a definite dry line appearing.
Just a sort of annoying type sort of shower around here, just making it slippy around the top of the surface. The two Aussies out in the front of the field. Brenton Grove in the Camry, getting that back up to speed, and by bringing his own race engineer over from Australia in the Super 2 Dunlop Series, he's just got a bit more confidence in the handling of that car, and now he's side by side with Jack Smith down the straight.
Yeah, Brendan Grove there, just looking a little bit nervous through that high-speed complex. Now as they do the approach up to the bridge, Jack Smith does look a little bit more stable. And here he goes, he's going to get a run, fires it up over the bridge.
Down the inside round by the lake, little bit of a twitch. He's got the inside ride as they roll over Jed's hump.
Oh, that's a great move, but look in the mirror of Brendan Grove. Chelsea Herbert's all over the back of her teammate.
So those two Tony Richards Toyota Camrys getting back up to speed after a few issues in the opening rounds of Pukekohe.
Yeah, these challenging conditions are obviously suiting Chelsea. She's really showing some form. Brad Lathrope there very wide onto the front straight, nearly clipped the wing mirror on the wall.
Smith through the bus stop. It's a great shot. Real flow through that part of the track.
It's a real driver's commitment, that corner, and look at Chelsea. She's gone through there with a lot of pace. Here we are on board through the southern loop. Brendan Grove, you can see up ahead, the car's very nervous. So Chelsea will be seeing that, and she'll be just enthused to try and get up there and add to his problems and really rattle on the back of that rear of the Toyota.
Chelsea really enjoying the challenge. In fact, all the drivers say it's a busy track. You've always got to be thinking. You're always challenged by the change in layup, left and right corners. And it's one of those sort of tracks where it's got to be fairly neutral with your setup, because as we go on board, Matt Tubbs and his driver training from Tom Alexander certainly has improved his performance and consistency. The racer out of Hamilton, rookie racer last year, he's learnt a lot smoother, a lot more controlled this year.
Yep, and out the front we can see a great battle here forming. Oh, Lance Hughes just squeezing Nick Ross on exit as they head off down the long back straight here. The approach to the bridge again one more time. So Nick's still trying to work his way forward from that earlier spin.
As we said, it's a bit more of a neutral track because you get bumps at Pukekohe, you have speed at Pukekohe, but here you've got left-hand corners, right-hand corners, big sweepers, short straights, so you've got to have a car that can sort of do everything.
Oh, absolutely, and Nick Ross certainly showed he got his car up over the bridge and got a great run there on Lance Hughes. So now he's on the back of Taylor. There's a great battle pack in front of him, so he's certainly determined to make more ground. Well, he's a little bit nervous there on the steering wheel, so the grip level is still a little bit undecisive. We go down into the approach to the bus stop. He's showing the nose, but you wouldn't want to go too wide into the bus stop. Into the southern loop, through into the forest again. Look at that wheel work and look down on the footwell. You can see him on and off the gas.
Fantastic part of the track here. Now the speed. Brad Lathrope. He's had help from Barry and Damon Leach from Leach Motorsport. Some of the locals around the South Island actually helped with the pedal box setup with this setup in that Dale ITM Ford Falcon. So he's a lot smoother this weekend. Scott Taylor, the 55-year-old Aussie, having a look down the inside around the carousel. This is shades of Manfield because it's contact. Shades of NASCAR, shades of stock cars. Matt Tubbs, here coming spinner.
Oh no. Nick, here we go, jump on board. There's a little bit of rain on the windscreen. Has that affected it? Tubbs has gone down the inside. Nick's come down and just not been aware of him getting in there. So, God, that's a tough one for both drivers. Stalled it here. He's trying to get it refired and get underway, but we see the windscreen there. Definitely a bit of water on the road down into the carousel.
Yeah, those sort of passing showers just making it a real challenge. This is the rear view from Nick Ross.
Yeah, so Tubbs has a look down the inside. Nick's gone out real wide, so Tubbs is able to get in there easily, and there's the contact, but
he just didn't see him, did he?
No, I think that's going to be a 50-50 call. I think Tubbs was entitled to be down there. Unfortunately, Nick was focused forward and maybe just didn't see him have his little dive.
The old racing incident. Look at the showers now. Look at the rain.
Yeah, this is really going to make things treacherous out here for the drivers as they come around. You can see the windscreen wiper on Lance Hughes' Commodore.
Once again, the BNT V8's in seasons past have been a bit like the rain radar, haven't they? As soon as the V8's come out, the rain comes out. So a 30-second couple of penalties for contact for Lance Hughes. So not a good weekend for Lance Hughes at Hamilton Asphalts out of Hamilton. But it has been a good weekend for Jack Smith. Oh, drama there for Matt Pajewski, going so well in Class 2, and he's got a puncture.
Yeah, we see a lot of debris there inside the air intake of the Falcon. So has he run off and cut it on a curb, or was the tyre deflation the result of the debris?
So that's going to hand the advantage to the digger Ford Falcon. Oh, he's got a puncture too. I was just about to say advantage Justin Ashwell. So now the two contenders in Class 2 both have to contend with busted tyres.
Yeah, has he gone out in sympathy, but both drivers challenging here on the circuit, and that's a long way to go on a flat tyre.
And of course, with the last lap, they basically just want to try and get it back to stop across the finish line to pick up valuable points. Fastest lap, Jack Smith. He's had it on rails this weekend. He's hooked it up, car 85, and really starting to take control of the BNT V8's. Got his rookie win last year. He's picked up some good wins at Pukekohe, and just that confidence, just oozing.
Yeah, even in these trying conditions, he's still pushing it hard over the bridge, getting some airtime. And let's hope that's not going to affect these cars later in the weekend, because that's really putting a lot of strain on the drivetrain.
I've got to say it's a great effort, because the team had to do quite a bit of work rebuilding their car after quite a big practice prang. He actually put it into the concrete wall, but they say, well, he does that in practice, and then they just go racing for the weekend. So he will take the checkered flag. He'll go 2 from 2 in the BNT V8s as Justin Ashwell just crawls across the start-finish line with that busted puncture. Battle scarred Brenton Grove in the number 10 Camry. Much better weekend for him. Another podium place, so that's a big improvement for him and the rest of the team from Tony Richards Toyota. So it's Jack Smith, goes back-to-back, followed by Brenton Grove, Lance Hughes. He will be in trouble with the judiciary, though, for contact with 62 Chelsea Herbert and also 73 Brad Lathrope, while Pajewski and Ashwell lib time with the punches from Class 2.
Yeah, it just started raining just before our session, and it was slicks or dry, or slicks or wets, and we weren't too sure. And thought it was slicks, but the team said wet, so we went with them because they're normally right. And everyone was on the same, so it was, it was pretty even, but it was definitely dry out there. But it was slippery, but it was good fun.
Just after restart, Jack gave me a little nudge, and I think from there, something bent in the car. I mean, I didn't have the pace to be anywhere near him, and I struggled really keeping the car on the track and bringing it back. So the boys are having a look now to see what's wrong with it. But yeah, it was a bit of an interesting race.
I got on the radio to Dad and said, I've got a problem. And yeah, next thing I know, I've got no steering or anything and coming and the tyres delaminated, as you can probably see here. And yeah, wrecked the front, but hey, we got the race win, so that's the main thing.
I saw Matt had a puncture ahead. And then I felt, just as I passed him, I felt my tyre deflating as well. We made the decision to pull over. We knew we had already completed the 75%. No point trying to put the car in the wall. Just parked it up on the side, waited for the checkered flag, and then came through.
Oh, this track is unbelievable. It's like a mini Hockenheim sort of stuck down here in South Island of New Zealand. But no, very impressed. Top first-class facility, standard of driving in all series, and obviously a little bit more single-seater focused, but high standard of competition. And no, very, very impressed. Looking forward to a really exciting afternoon of motorsport. Scott's obviously now a 5-time one of the most successful IndyCar drivers of all time. So this country produces talent, and from what we've seen this weekend, the future is extremely bright. So got to try and get them to United States, get them into IndyCar.
Yes, great to have guys like Johnny Barker from the development series on the road to Indy down here at this fantastic facility as we get set to go racing for the third and final showdown of the weekend at Highlands Motorsport Park. It certainly has put Cromwell on the map, a world-class facility, and developing the Scotty Dixons of the future. And of course, that's exactly what the BNT V8's has done before. The likes of Shane Van Gisbergen. Oh, drama there for Nick Ross as we get set to go racing for the third and final time. Of course, Scotty McLaughlin as well, coming out of these classes and then going racing and doing a super stuff in Australia in the supercars. But now we've got the Aussies over here showing the Kiwis how to do it on our own backyard.
Yeah, Jack Smith there through the exit of the bus stop, already getting through to the front of the field. So he's certainly rolling on again here with his form. It's great to see.
So they're all on slicks at the moment on a what's been a slippy track, but it's been drying this afternoon, which is great.
Well, we see here Tubbs into the S's. Oh, he's overcooked it. He's had to jump over the curb.
That's the third time one of the drivers has got it wrong going through the S's. Oh, and Nick Ross again. Geez, had no grip this weekend. Grove going wide around the carousel.
Yeah, we jump on board here on the Toyota Camry. He's certainly fighting it through the exit of the carousel.
So it's still been slippery with a few of those passing showers. They're in the slicks. So it's a real challenging track for the drivers at the moment. Dale ITM, Ford Falcon, Brad Lathrope going well, Chelsea Herbert. Let's have a look at what happened on the start.
Oh, Nick Ross, unfortunately, just the clutch grabbed and he stalled the car. Great work here to get around at the start, because that could have been disastrous on the start line.
Yeah, good reactions by Matt Tubbs. Great shots over the bridge. You see them getting some air, bouncing over. Forest in the background. Magnificent setting.
Yeah, it's certainly pretty good. And look at this, Brad Lathrop, Chelsea Herbert, two of the new young chargers in this series. Currently second and third. It's great to see them fighting here for podiums.
Fantastic place to sit back and watch the action on the grass bank there as they sweep around pit lane.
Oh, it's contact with the wall. Coming there onto the front straight. Brendan Grove, was it? Just ran wide.
So that's not a good result. He's having such a much better weekend, but now more bad luck for that Camry team.
Yeah, it was a decent hit too on the wall, so he knows straight away that something's not right. Here we go on board Chelsea.
This is our 360 camera.
You're just about 360 degrees around that southern loop. It just keeps going. But here she is, looking really calm and relaxed in there. She starts fighting on the back of Brad Lathrop through into the S's.
Superb shots from our BNT V8 Skycam.
Superb shots and certainly superb driving here from Chelsea. She's working over the back of that Falcon there of Brad Lathrop's. A little bit deep here into the carousel, trying to get the switch back. Certainly showing some good form here.
Actually went for a blend around the track with Martin Day, who's the sponsor of the Dale ITM Ford Falcon in front. He's doing the course car for the Toyota Camrys, and it gives you a real great experience to go racing around this track about how it switches and where you can try and make your pass, where you have that need for speed, where you've got to feather the throttle.
Yeah, it certainly keeps the drivers on their toes all the way around. The different characteristics of the high-speed corners, a couple of hairpins, and this infamous jump up over the bridge that they're coming over now. Look at the airtime that they're getting.
Matt Tubbs, they did some dyno testing over the weekend and found they were down on throttle power, around about 57%, so they've done some work overnight on the 42 car as Nick Ross has a look down the inside coming through Jet's hump and makes the move on Tubbs.
Yeah, Nick
Hughes
Ross is coming through. Oh, Chelsea's looking down the inside here. Very tricky corner to go too wide, but she's done it. What a move.
Oh, contact.
Oh, I just thought there I was praying for Tubbs to get on the brakes, but unfortunately he's rolled it back into the wall. Heavy contact there.
Bad luck for the 42 jump flex car of Matt Tubbs from Hamilton.
Yeah, although just seeing the rain here coming down, it looks
look
like...
at that, look at that.
Yeah, look, we might be a bit hard on Tubbs there. He could have just been caught out by that shower.
Well, I tell you what, they were on wets on a drying track in race 2. Now they're on slicks on a wet track in race 3, and this could be very treacherous.
Yeah, this going to have to tiptoe around here. Chelsea currently holding down second position, the first of the Toyotas. That's an outstanding performance, but you can see here the pace has been pulled back, just tiptoeing around through the carousel. Nick Ross here, you've got to think that his experience in this category is going to come to the fore. He's driven these cars many a time in these conditions, and now red flag. So the officials have deemed it too dangerous to continue on these slick tyres.
Red flag, wet track, so they're going to come into pit lane, switch over to wets.
Oh, Nick Ross here is making the decision to come into the pit lane and go onto the wet tyres already.
He's not going to wait. And you can see there just how treacherous it is now. Really slippery as that rain starts to pour and get quite heavy here at Highlands Motorsport Park in Cromwell. So he's the first to come in and change over.
We are on board with Tubbs. You can see the amount of rain there on the windscreen. He's trying to find the wiper button. He's finally managed to engage the windscreen wiper. Oh, maybe that's what's caused him to lose concentration. Oh, there's a lot going on there. Lance Hughes is right in the back as well. So rain, trying to find the windscreen, battling other competitors. There was a lot going on.
And now look at that. Bang! Oh, that's the sound you don't want to hear when you're motor racing.
Crunching of that metal onto the wall. Here we go, pit lane. Nick Ross now.
So they've stopped the race, and all the rest of the drivers are going to come into pit lane now as they get behind the Lexus safety car.
So how's this going to play out? Nick Ross is currently being held in the lane. The rest of the field have gone right round. Here we go, wet tyres going on board. Brad Lathrop's team, Lance Hughes there, Hamilton Asphalt's holding, Chelsea Herbert sitting where the door's open, trying to cool down a bit, and here we go, restart time.
So Jack Smith, he's away, Herbert, Scott Taylor, Lathrop, Hughes. Nick Ross trying to make up for lost ground.
Yeah, so he's back at the rear of the field again, but as they come through into the bus stop, look at the amount of spray that's coming off the track. It certainly has come down.
And I wonder who's going to be nervous about racing in the rain around here. Drivers getting their setup right, they're chasing their setup, they're chasing their feel around the track and the drive, but now they've got to do it in the rain.
Yeah, here we go. Brad Lathrop and Lance Hughes having a good battle here, back a little bit further back in the field. Oh, pinching the brakes again, Brad. He has done a lot of work on the pedal box in that car to try and get a better feel for the brake pedal. Just pinched the rears ever so slightly there as he's currently holding down the 4th position.
Scott Taylor having a look down the inside as Chelsea Herbert goes wide.
He's
What's
gone
that?
wide.
Is that smoke coming from the rear of that car? Was that?
Oh, it certainly didn't look like water spray. We jump on board. She's certainly not looking very racy here, so something's gone amiss with the Camry. That's a great shame. She was currently in the second, well, prior to that she was in 2nd position in the first of the Toyota Camrys, so showing good form, but here she goes in the back, just falling down the field, and yeah, definitely smoke. That's telltale signs of engine woes. That's a great shame.
Yeah, that's disappointment for the Tony Richards Toyota team, because both the Camrys of Brenton Grove and Chelsea Herbert back on the pace this weekend, and all of a sudden here they are both heading back towards the pits with engine problems. So big disappointment.
Yeah, you got a feel for Chelsea. She certainly was matching it with anybody up there in the top podium positions, and that's just robbed her of what was looking like another great result in the series.
Now it's all the experienced drivers. Jack Smith, gee, whether it's wet or dry, slicks or wets, he's just motoring away this weekend. He's really taking control of the BNT V8s. But the other guys, these older guys, showing their experience in the wet here. Last lap. What a scene. Look at the mountains, the trees, the tarmac. What a great scene here at Highlands Motorsport Park in Cromwell. Putting this place on the map. World-class facility and a real challenge for these drivers. Bajeski and Ash will be enjoying driving on tyres that are actually inflated at this race.
Yeah, it certainly makes a difference when you can keep all 4 tyres underneath you, but here we go. Nick Ross, he's got one more lap. Can he make any more positions? On board.
Remember, they've all had a moment through the bus stop. Each race, just about every driver. Oh, another one! Scott Taylor, turn it up.
So is Nick going to be able to be the benefactor here? He sure is, so he's made 2 spots up just in the one complex.
Gee, they've all lost a bus ticket through there, haven't they? Round the carousel, beautiful sweeping corner. Then it goes to off Cambius. Shades of Taupo, turn 9 around there.
Yeah, speaking of going off, unfortunately, that does not look like good for Chelsea there. She's having to be pushed on the infield. We're back out on track here. Nick Ross through into the bottom hairpin, onto the back straight.
So Jack Smith's gone. Nick Ross is playing catch-up. Lance Hughes, after copping a couple of penalties for contact in the previous race, he's also keen to pick up some valuable points. Riding the ripples, up and over the bridge. Round the lake. Smith, Ashwell. They're the guys who've taken advantage, and you'll see all the animals in the background, the shots. Animals all around the park here. 80% tourism, 20% motor racing. This guy's been 100% all weekend long. Jack Smith, 85 from the Gold Coast in Australia. 3 from 3. Superb weekend in the South Island for the Aussie. Ross coming home to that podium finish after that quick change to the wets. And Lance Hughes, Mr. Consolidation, taking out a place on that podium. So a real challenge in race 3. And good to see down to the line Rob Wallace and Brad Lathrop enjoying the wet conditions once they got onto those wet tyres. So it's Smith, 3 from 3 for the weekend. Nick Ross settled into second. Lance Hughes rounded out the top 3, followed by Taylor, Lathrop, Wallace. Ashwell picked up the Class 2 honours this time over the 77 car of Matt Pajeski. So what a weekend for the young Australian who takes control of the BNT V8's now. Jack Smith, the man to beat.
They warned me the weather was coming, but I didn't know it was going to be quite like that. And yeah, we had to stop, put wets on, and we still pulled the lead after the restart. So, Nick was quick, but he was a lap down, I think. So yeah, didn't help him that much. But Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was fun. Yeah, it is a big weekend. We didn't get much running there last year. Our engine blew up in practice, which was a bit unfortunate. But yeah, no, I like that track. I think we can do well there as well.
Look, for us, the start was where it all happened. Nick Ross obviously stalled on the start, but we had a really good launch. That gave us a bit of a headway against Matt. Yes, and then the rigmarole with safety cars, or then red flag, and change to wets. So everyone was, scrambling to get their wets on and get underway again. At the end of the day, it's a positive for us going into next weekend. So we'll take it at that and go from there.
Well, Jack Smith, he looks like an Aussie surfer. He's been riding the wave of success this weekend. He started with a 25-point advantage and he's now increased that after 3 rounds of the BNT V8, and it's still very close between Ashwell and Pajeski in the battle for Class 2 honours. Last word goes to Matt Tubbs as we head to Teretonga.
Yeah, hey guys, it's Matty Tubbs here. Got the last word of the day. This is my first time here down in Cromwell, Highlands Park down the south, and look at the state of this place. Tony Quinn's done a pretty amazing job in creating a playground and a remote paradise, and really enjoyed it down here. Had mixed results, up and downs, but I'm really looking forward to the next round in Teretonga. We'll see you there. Woo.